Welcome to Jiu-Jitsu Self-Defense. I'm Grayson, here with my massive assailant, Jared. Today we're going to go over hip throw, so let's jump right in. So, when talking about hip throw, first thing we need to establish is T position. So we'll get into how to set up or how to get to T position in some later videos. But for today, let's just talk about the T position itself. So, first thing we need is an underhook on one side. And I want my shoulder deep in the armpit, okay? I want my head against the ear to protect, or ear against the shoulder to protect against punches. This arm is going to catch the tricep and pinch the wrist and hand in the armpit. This hand here is just gonna cup the hip. If you can't reach the hip, it's just gonna rest as deep as possible, all right? It's called T position because our feet maintain a T. No matter where he goes, I follow and maintain a T with the feet, okay? If I ever lose this arm, I've got to worry about this punch here. So anytime he punches, I can block, I can grab the wrist, I can block the bicep, but remember, I always want to catch from the outside. I don't want to try and block from the inside with this hand, because if he winds up nice and big, I'm going to lose the arm and eat the punch. So I'm always going to pin from the outside against the body, and then from here I can readjust back to T position, okay? So when I go for the hip throw, first thing I've got to do is open this foot here, okay? I don't want it too far away, and I don't want it too close. If it's too far away, when I step in, I can't get my hips deep enough. And if it's too close, there's not enough room to sneak through. And sometimes it's hard to step in. So I like to be about heel to toe and maybe about 6 to 12 inches away from his foot. Okay? So when I'm ready to step through with the other leg, I need to create a little bit of space off of this shoulder. So I just like to tuck my shoulder through, okay? If I maintain too tight here, I can't get my hips through. So I've got to loosen up in my upper body. I always want to maintain control here, but this hand that was on the hip is just going to slide off a little bit. And if we tuck our shoulder through, I know I'm about where I need to be to where I can step the hips through, okay? So open, shoulder comes in, now this foot steps through, and I want to put my heel to his toe just inside his foot. If I ever step outside, I'm going to lose my base, and I'm very vulnerable to being pulled over backwards, and really it's just not a sound base to lift from. So open, shoulder, step heel to toe. You can see both my feet are facing the same direction as his. And then from here, I really like to exaggerate my hips through. I'm going to try and put my outside hip to his outside hip. Okay, so in order to do that, I'm really going to poke my butt through to the other side. Okay. If I don't put my hips deep enough, what tends to happen is this guy just rolls off and stays on his feet, okay? So I'll do it a couple times bad, just so you can see. Hips not deep enough, I can't get him out of his base. So when I poke my hips through, really exaggerate that, now he lifts right up over my back. Okay. Here, open, shoulder, heel to toe, deep hips, and my opponent will just drape right over my back. Okay. If I've done it correctly, I should end up right here. So, the last part of that, to complete the throw, I'm just going to bend at the hips and tuck the shoulder. Deep hips, bend, tuck that shoulder. Okay. A couple more times. T position, underhook, Ear to shoulder. If he's punching, pin. Trap the hand. I'm maintaining T position no matter where he goes. When I'm ready, open the foot. Shoulder, heel to toe, hips deep, lift, bend, tuck the shoulder. Okay. Let's talk about some limitations to the hip throw. Anytime I'm in T position and he is too vertical, too bent over, pulling away, okay, these are some things that can shut the move down. Okay? So we have other moves for when those things happen. So T position hip throw, the basic hip throw, is for when the guy is more or less about a 45-degree angle or greater, okay? Just shy of 90. If he's at 90, or 180, if he's upright, it's hard to get my hips in without being hunched over, okay? If he's too hunched over, I can't get my hips deep, okay? So we'll address those at another time. But here, open, shoulder, heel to toe, deep hips, lift. Okay. Some other issues we'll run into is if I'm too far away, if my hips are too far away from his hips. So from this angle, if I'm too far out here with my initial step, when I step through here, you can see my hips aren't connected. And then I start trying to lift from up under his stomach. Okay? If I'm too far away, see how I can't lift? I really want to scoop under his hips. So when I shoot my hips through, I'm also lowering and getting under his hips. So if we watch from this angle, you can see how low I really get when I shoot my hips. Okay? So there's many ways to do the hip throw. This is the way I found that works for most people. Whether you're big, tall, short, petite, woman, child. The other limitation, big limitation, is going to be the height difference between me and my opponent. If my opponent is significantly taller than me, it's going to be hard to scoop under and lift my opponent's legs up off the mat. Okay? So if we do the hip throw this way, it limits the significance of that height difference. But if you're close to 5 feet and you're trying to do this on somebody that's 6'6", it's probably not going to work. Okay? Because we have to have enough height in our hips when they're fully extended to lift our opponent up out of their base. Okay? There is one little trick that we can do to increase our success when we have a big height difference. So from T position, if my opponent's a lot taller than me, the more I can pull him up over my hips, the more I can take away from that height difference. So everything's the same. Open the foot, shoulder, heel to toe, shoot the hips. Okay, I'm really scooping under. The more I can pull my opponent on top of me, you can see how that naturally lifts his feet up off the mat. So from the side here, without even scooping up under, if I just pull him forward here, you can see how that lifts him up off of his feet. So the other option we have is arm over. We're going to pull him out of his base. So just so you can see what that looks like one more time. We're here, T position, open shoulder, heel to toe, hips deep, arm over, tuck the shoulder. Okay, So that's the hip throw I like. Like I said, there's many good variations out there. If you have anything that you like, let us know. And yeah, look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks.